The year is 2035. Soma Cruz, a high school exchange student living in Japan, just wants to enjoy watching a lunar eclipse with his friend Mina Hakuba. But when he passes through a shrine's torii gate, he finds himself awakening at the base of a towering castle. A mysterious man soon appears to save Soma and Mina from a horde of monsters, leading to a monster's soul entering Soma's body. Soma wants answers, but the mysterious man promises answers can only be found within the ominous castle before them. Oh, a baby, I finally get to talk about Aria of Sorrow. This game right here is a video game. A great video game. When I first played Aria, I was excited from beginning to end. And upon replaying it, I was excited all over again. Igarashi and his team finally got the formula right with this one. The combat, the exploration, the story, it all makes for a fantastic Metroidvania experience. Let's get into it. Combat in Aria feels pretty good, and I think it's because the team was like, F it, we're doing Symphony of the Night 2.0, and they're all the better for it. Much like our favorite Dampier Alucard, Soma moves around the battlefield gracefully with attacks that vary in responsiveness, ranging from quick stabs to, why would anyone use the hammer? It takes forever to swing. I'm 100 years old now. And that's what I like about Aria's combat. It's all over the place. The patently slow and myopic whip has been replaced with all manners of swords and knives and spears and hammers, and if you really miss the whip, a sword whip. Also, there's a gun, but it sucks, so I didn't use it. The only downside to the combat is that Harmony's dash has been removed. You do get a backdash very early in the game, so you can at least have some sort of evasion, but there's a delay between dashes, making it not a quick way to get around. The gimmick this time revolves around taking enemy souls. Occasionally, a fallen enemy soul will enter Soma, giving him a new power to equip. He can equip one soul for each of the three categories: Bullet, Guardian, and Enchanted. Bullet souls are offensive moves you can trigger by holding up and attacking, resulting in throwing bones or shooting lightning. Guardian souls have a dedicated button, and triggering them does all kinds of things, like allowing you to descend slowly or turning you into a raging invincible terror beast. And Enchanted souls are passive, increasing stats or allowing you to walk on water. There are so many souls to collect in the game, and the drop rates didn't seem as bad as Circle of the Moons, though I still couldn't be bothered to grind for anything. The last type of soul you can acquire are ability souls. These are the souls you'll collect to get the upgrades you need to progress in the game. Double jump, sliding, high jump, a dash you get way too late in the game. The only ability that Soma gets that's pretty unique by Metroidvania standards is the one that makes you unaffected by time spells, but you only use it in one spot, so it's not super noteworthy. So yeah, ability souls are pretty basic. Just remember that the Guardian souls can also give you handy moves that open up the map, like being able to turn into a bat. Aria's map is interesting. On one hand, it's kind of bland. You have the castle-y part, the more castle-y part, a dance hall, and of course the freaking clock tower. Then you have more interesting spots like the battle arena that's real tough but offers some pretty sweet swag down some optional hallways, an underground cavern that leads to an underground cemetery, and a place literally called the Forbidden Area, which is actually very underwhelming but does hold the best weapon in the game, so finding it is totally worth it. There's also the Hanging Gardens. It's got this disorienting maze aspect to it that I really liked. The fast travel teleport rooms were also in convenient locations this time around, so backtracking wasn't too big a deal, though I wish there was a faster way to get around because Soma's backdash just wasn't cutting it. Overall, an interesting map with intriguing biomes that enticed me to explore, and exploration was always rewarded. Aria does a really great job at providing interesting and useful equipment at a pace that's appropriate for the current challenge. I was always excited to find a new piece of armor or a new weapon, and every time I got a new enemy soul, dopamine would flood my brain. This game kept me wanting more, so much so that I never put it down. On my first playthrough, I completed it in one sitting. It took me a little over 4 hours, so don't think I'm that much of a loser. Aria's atmosphere hits just right. Of course, they have the typical assortment of goofy enemies and some added silliness just to keep things campy. I'm looking at you, Persephone. But the overall design for each creature is impressive, especially for a GBA game. And you gotta love that music. I don't know what happened with Harmony. Maybe Igarashi lost a bet and had to conduct the music himself with his feet or something, but Aria's soundtrack is astonishing. A lot of the compositions are originals, and they're gorgeous, but my favorite has to be the little shot of nostalgia you get when you get the true ending when a rendition of Bloody Tears plays. Man, you love to hear it. The boss designs are pretty neat in this game too. I don't quite understand all of them, like Grimm's final form with the manicure, but Balor is a fantastic standout. His introduction alone is worth the price of admission. Let's talk about that story. Many will tell you it's the best story in all of Castlevania. Personally, they're probably right, but that's not saying much. It's not like Castlevania is known for its captivating storytelling. But for what it's worth, Aria's plot is interesting. In 1999, someone trapped Drax's castle and his powers within an eclipse. With this new eclipse in 2035, there's an opportunity for somebody to obtain Drax's powers and become the lord of this castle. There's a dude named Graham who thinks he's going to obtain the powers, but it turns out that Soma, the player character, is Drax all along, and the mysterious man who helped you in the beginning is none other than Alucard from Symphony of the Night, there to ensure Drax's powers never come back to this realm. It's a cool twist that I think most people saw coming. Regardless, it's badass, especially when you're going for the true ending and have to fight a Belmont, a role reverse that would make any series fan squeal with glee. But making it to this fight during the path to the true ending isn't easy. There's a fair bit of exploring you have to do, as well as some thinking to figure things out. I loved it and think it's the best path to a true ending Castlevania has done to this day. Essentially, you end up finding 3 ancient books that don't do anything, but if you read their item descriptions, they give you hints. Analyzing these clues, you discover that you're supposed to equip 3 specific souls. I found these clues effective because I'm a Metroidvania veteran, but I could see how somebody newer to the genre might have thought these hints were too vague. For instance, Ancient Book 3 says, "The third spirit is a beautiful nightmare." To a Castlevania vet, that's an easy one, the succubus, because Alucard had to fight a succubus in his nightmare in Symphony of the Night. Anyway, after figuring that out, you equip the correct spirits and then fight the final boss, another Metroidvania staple. Do that and voila, the path to the true ending unfolds. It's neat, it's interesting, it's logical, and adds to the narrative, and it was hidden pretty well. I gotta say, I loved it very much. Also, Hammer was there. Aria of Sorrow is right up there with Symphony of the Night. Is it better? Maybe. I'll have to play it a few more times and see how I feel. Let it marinate in my brain for a while. So, it goes without saying that I highly recommend Aria to all Metroidvania fans. It's short and sweet, its exploration is addicting and always rewarding. I never had to resort to a wiki because the game's design guides you perfectly, and it's an absolute blast to mess around with all the different enemy souls you can collect. Sure, launching a volley of purple cats isn't the most effective strategy against a Minotaur, but isn't it great you have the option?
Aria.
Ah, crap. Well, that's embarrassing.